Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Upsurge Minor League. We are here for a Week 2 game between DOV Defiant and Arizona State University. I am Joe Helmite Silva, joined here tonight by Riley Spaff Robertson, and I think we can expect this one to be a really competitive game.
I'm very excited. Arizona's got a lot to show, and I think that there's going to be many options to be able to showcase this tonight. Looking at some very interesting picks between the two teams because there's a lot of contested stuff. I'm looking at Pantheons being contested. I'm looking at Shins being contested. The matchups for top lane is going to be super interesting. And pick ban, I think, is what's going to decide the games in this series.
Pick ban deciding the game. Interesting to say. Of course, a lot of these teams sharing picks like you were just talking about. Maybe a lot of topside focus on those bans. And exactly what are we looking to see in this sort of Kaiser Mango Kexama matchup since we're already kind of bringing it up this early?
Oh, let me tell you what I think about this top lane matchup. I think that DOV's top laner Kexama is an incredible player. I've looked through his match history. I've looked through what he's played. I look at his KDA. He looks reliable. However, Kexama plays 3 champions. He plays Shin, Kale, Jax. And when I go through his match history on champions that aren't Shin, Kale, Jax, he loses a lot. And I think that if Arizona want to secure a very easy win, they just ban those 3 champions, force him onto something like a Malphite, an Ornn, a Scion, and then they just give Kaiser his Mordekaiser, and top lane gets won through that. And I think that with mid and bot lane being their strong side anyway, I think that that can already secure a pretty early victory in the series.
All right, so ban away Kexama's champions, get Kaiser on the Mordekaiser, as it turns out, and then try to go for victory through there. But we'll have more time to talk about that as we are right into Champ Select pick ban right now. Starting off with these bans firing away rapid fire. We've got the Graves taken away from DOV. ASU will fire back with a Lucian ban here. So already the top laners are not getting banned out. So ASU pivoting away from that strategy.
Yeah, I like the Graves ban a lot because while both people play it, it's an interesting ban from blue side. Wow, they're going straight into that Samira ban. I think the Samira ban is very good because the ADC for DOV Boost plays it a lot. He's been looking really good on it. And ASU's AD carry has been trying to play Samira and not having much success with it. So I think they're saying, we can't pick it away from them. We just take it off the board. TF, Bard, those are just comfort picks for the mid and support. So I think DOV is trying to test the waters with this first game. And there's the Thresh ban as well. Thresh ban is interesting because that is Jimmy's second most played support. So Bard and Thresh off the board for Jimmy, who I think is one of the scariest players on Arizona right now.
Yeah, so those are going to be taken away from the support, so no carrying through the support position probably this time around. DOV sitting on that first lane pick. They have essentially their pick of the litter, whatever they want their top laner to be able to play, and they're hovering over all of them, but instead they're going to go with the Kale here as that first pickup.
Yeah, I think the Caitlyn is a very good pick here. It's very safe. A little interesting that they wouldn't grab the Ashe. I think Ashe is a bit better of a blind pick, but Caitlyn just as good. It's going to give you a safe lane. Morgana's still on the board, and if they want to try to pick the Morgana away, you still got room for the counter pick. So Caitlyn, good first blue side pick, but we'll see what ASU has to offer in return. And I like that they were flashing those top lane picks to kind of show you didn't ban it away. Let's see if you want to pick it.
Yeah, exactly. So saying they probably will have the option of whatever they still want to pick over on DOV Defiant side. ASU, meanwhile, they will be picking up that Ashe like you talked about. Safe blind pick. Of course, you know it's going to be into the Caitlyn, but something that can help equalize the lane. And they will opt instead for the Pantheon here for Kaiser Mango, even though Mordekaiser was available.
I think that the Pantheon is actually a very intelligent pick from Arizona. I think that this person has done their research because Pantheon is Blue Shift's best jungler, if not second best. He looks pretty good on set, but while this is a comfort pick for their top laner, it's also stealing it away from DOV's jungle.
Yeah, so denial pick and securing something that they know they can play. DOV, meanwhile, they have to think about what they're going to answer back with. They will pick the Leona, and now are they going to bother grabbing their top laner right here and saying, we know we want it before we hit second round bans, or are they going to wait, try to secure a jungler here, and then see what Kaiser or what Kexama will have instead?
I think they could hold off because they can't ban all 3 of his champions, and I think that he's so reliable on those 3 that he can wait it out. But they're just going to go ahead and pick the Shin here, which I don't think is bad either. Going to make sure that that doesn't get a banned away, and they're probably just thinking, Shin's probably the best of my 3 champions into Pantheon, so grab me that and let's roll into phase 2. So we're looking at what I would like to think is going to be a support pick. I don't think that you go into phase 2 without making sure that you have a good counter pick into the Leona, so stuff gets banned away, because while Jimmy's pool is, moderate, his strong picks, 2 of them have already been banned away. So I think that they grab the Ornn.
So straight into the top lane pick here. Now, obviously, these things can be flexed around. We've seen Pantheon at support, especially in LCS. We've seen Ornn be flexed around there as well, but they are going to pick that too. So this is potentially jungle top lane here that we've seen ASU pick up already. Now, going to second phase bans, you already have the Shen, which I think is really good for Kexamot. It does allow him to just sort of use Shen to help out the rest of the map with that powerful Stand United ultimate. Aurelion Sol actually is going to be banned out here from ASU, and trying to think about what DOV wants to target now that they have a few options on the table.
The ASO ban is really interesting to me because the mid laner for ASU, Map, he plays Kiana, and I feel like Kiana has a really, really good matchup into ASO, but they might just think like, we don't really know how to handle it very well. Let's get it off the board. Hecarim is going to be taken off as well. Pretty sure then they think that that's not a Pantheon jungle, so that is Catholic's best jungler, at least statistically, so they're looking for just comfort picks, it looks like. It looks like their bans, at least on blue side, are just what do they play and what do they play the best, and let's just get that off to test the waters for game one, like I said. But let's see what ASU does. So they're going to ban away a Kindred, and that's a little interesting to me because he doesn't play a ton of that. And the Set is still on the board, and if they've looked at his match history, Set is mad good for that player. They're going to take the Karthus off. So they're just trying to drop 2 jungle bans, which I think is very smart in phase 2. Probably going to force him onto either an Echo or... I don't know. I think it might have to be the Echo pick. The Echo's not bad here either, because they do lack a lot of AP, and their mid laner will probably end up on Galio or TF. But let's see.
Yeah, plenty of options still available from the sound of it. ASU, they're going to be sitting on this last pick here for a while. Now, could be a support if they elect for anyone else in the side lanes, but no, they will lock in the Lilia instead here as the jungle, so that helps us figure out the team a little bit more here.
I really like the Lilia pick because traps aren't going to be very easy to land on that champion, and Shin and Leona can't really do a lot to stick onto her in a team fight. There it is.
Mobility prancing around, but the set was through, of course, here for DOV Defiant. So thinking about that, but I would guarantee that is going to get locked in. Now looking for the blind pick mid laner here. Now still a few options. I know we talked a little bit about the Nico. The Zir could come out here as well for Gunshin if they really decide they want to go for that. Obviously, that is going to be, well, the Teemo getting hovered. I'm probably not going to be picked up there. I would probably expect some kind of carry that can sit behind the frontliners here and do lots of damage. The Azir, I think, makes a lot of sense, but a good blind pick here is the Orianna. It makes a lot of sense given that ASU has the counter pick here, and that is going to be locked in.
I think we just see, I think any of Map Slim's mid lane comfort picks are going to be really good into this. He's got Galio, TF, Rumble, and Kiana, and none of them really got knocked off the board. And I think like all of them have relatively okay matchups. And if you're just looking to survive and scale, I think you can do that on all 4. So I'd like DOV's picks. Oh, now I'm confused. Is that a mid Pantheon?
And that's going to be locked in for the Mordekaiser. So I think you're probably onto something there. Likely to be the mid lane Pantheon, flex the Ornn down to the support role, and then put Mordekaiser up top into the Shen. Now, that is not a bad flex pick here to deal with the Shen. You can Death Realm him. There are a few things to do, but ASU really hanging on that top lane pick and flexing things around, maybe getting a little too clever for their own good.
Yeah, I've seen this before in drafts where you just want to try to pull out the craziest flex picks you can. And honestly, I mean, I'm looking at this draft. I don't know where these picks are going, and I don't think we'll know till we actually go through the real in-client pick ban because, like you said, Mordekaiser, great matchup into Shin. Like, that's a good lane for him, and he, does play a lot of Mord, but the Pantheon into the Orianna is a bit questionable for me, and I don't know if Ornn does very well into Leona either. So like you said, too clever for their own good, maybe.
Yeah, either way, but it does mean that they'll maybe have thrown off DOV Defiant a little bit in terms of the pick ban, in terms of what they were expecting to see. Instead, they're going to have to deal with this sort of last-minute Mordekaiser that threw everything into question here. But you still have a very solid composition here from DOV, lots of solid front-to-back team fighting. You have the Shen, which can equalize the other 2 lanes, because as we were talking about a little bit before the game, well, actually, that's going to be the Ornn here picked up for top lane, so that is looking like a Mordekaiser mid lane.
That's super interesting because actually I'm glad that you said that because I was about to say something real dumb then because I was going to say I bet that Pantheon is in fact mid because it matches the play style of Map Slim. He plays a lot of roaming mid laners, and I think that the Mordekaiser pick is odd because I've actually played more into Orianna and it's not easy. It's a difficult matchup for him, and it's weird to me to think that they would pick that as the last pick unless they're just going to swap. They might just be trying to hold off as long as possible and confuse them. But if that's actually going to be a Mord mid into Ori, that's questionable decision making from Arizona, in my opinion.
ASU maybe thinking Kaiser Mord can handle whatever Gunshin decides to come out with him, but we will have to wait on that a little bit until we see where the teams are going to put things once they've swapped everything around and get through this whole pick ban. But either way, I think the biggest question here is where that Pantheon is going to be, given that, like we said, there is the option to send that mid lane with Map Slim, let him get that roaming playstyle like he had before, or do you put it bot lane to try and make that lane a little bit easier to go aggressively to try and counteract the Leona? The Pantheon, I think, is going to be the biggest flex here, depending on where they want it to go.
Yeah, and I really don't like the Ornn into Shin either. I feel like it's got to be Ornn support. I'm going crazy right now. I just spent like the last hour before this trying to fix my pick'ems. They're an absolute mess, and this is just giving me the same feeling in my head right now.
Yeah, never know where anything's going, but you got to make a decision at some point, so we'll know soon enough here. But it is looking like it's going to be Hyatt's Jimmy sitting on that Pantheon in the support position, so maybe just trying to be a little bit aggressive, equalize that lane a little bit. And Kaiser Mord, he's still sitting on the Mordekaiser, so that is likely to be a mid lane Mordekaiser into the Orianna, which, as you said, is not an easy matchup at all.
Yeah, and I mean, it doesn't help that, like, Lilia can't do much for counter ganks against a set early on, and Mordekaiser is just going to be hung out to dry in the mid lane. I mean, it's not a good place for him to just be standing still in early levels. I mean, when he hits 6, it might be a little easier for him to avoid those ganks, but man, that's going to be risky early game for them, and it's not like anything but their bot lane is strong right now. Honestly, I hate to say it, I was really looking forward to ASU, looking really, really good going into the game, but I think DOV just has a better draft.
Yeah, DOV, very solid draft from here. They came out with the Shen, they came out with the set. I think they pretty much came out with everything they wanted. Maybe not the Orianna Gunshin you might have been looking for, that Aurelion Sol, that Kayle, that Azir, but had to pick something that was good into the blind. Either way, though, this is a very solid composition. ASU, meanwhile, what does their team fight look like? How are they going to play this composition? A lot of options, but I don't think a lot of good options compared with what DOV's got.
Right, I'm looking at it, and like the Ornn can make team fights happen. That's what that champion is built to do. But like in extended fights, their team is just really weird. And I mean, they could make me eat my words, but their team fight is just non-comparable to DOV's. I mean, you've got Shin ult for the people that are going to go down early. You've got Set ult for good engage. You've got Orianna ult, which we all know what that does. And Leona can get those picks real easy in the bot lane roams. I don't know how ASU competes with that, at least in the first 20 minutes of the game. I mean, they're very ulti reliant, and DOV has strong laning phase in all 3 lanes.
Yeah, and now we did talk a little bit. You did say ASU, really solid mid laner there in Kaiser Mord, Hyatt's Jimmy, great support player, Hansha, great AD carry player. So the potentially are options here looking for the outplay, pick slightly weaker lanes, but then rely on mechanical prowess to do better might be the option. But alternatively, and you kind of talked about a little bit, but the scaling from ASU, is that going to be better than DOV? Do they have the option if this game goes post 20 minutes?
Yeah, I mean, it's up in the air. I mean, Mordekaiser scales well, Ashe scales okay, and Ornn is going to be able to give a little bit of scaling to all of his teammates, even though if they wouldn't naturally. But I mean, one good Orianna ult could end the game, and I don't like that for ASU because they don't have mobile champs. None of them are. The only mobility you really have is the Pantheon being able to jump onto somebody.
Yeah, either way, we are going to be hopping into our intermission here before we get going on the game. But before we go, I want to talk to you guys very briefly about our sponsor, Kono. If you're looking to take your game to the next level, it all starts with your peripherals. From keyboards to keycaps, mice, and more, our friends at Kono have got you covered. Kono works with the world's best designers, inventors, and makers to bring you some of the best gaming peripherals around. They've been huge supporters of us here at Upsurge and have made generous contributions to our prize pools. If you need to find a new keyboard, check out the Hex keyboard. You can use discount code UpsurgeGG for 7% off your first order. For more information, head over to Kono.store to check out all they have to offer. That's KONO.store. Kono, discover amazing products. We'll be right back with the first game of DOV Defiant versus Arizona State University. Don't go anywhere.
Gave you too much, now I'm swallowed. Now I'm the fool while you're breaking rules. Dangerous path that I follow. Oh, go on, just do what you do. And it hurts as I bleed for you, cry for you. Let me bleed as I bleed for you, cry for you. Let me bleed. Let me bleed. All of the pain seems to follow like a shadow, dark and cold to the touch. Am I insane not to let go? Oh, go on, just do what you do. And it hurts as I bleed for you, cry for you. Let me bleed as I bleed for you, cry for you. Let me bleed. Let me
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are here on the Rift for Game 1 of DOV Defiant versus Arizona State University here. Of course, on the blue side, we do have DOV Defiant with Kexama up in the top lane, Blue Shift in the jungle, Gunshin at mid lane, Boost his success at AD carry, and Sleepy Voice his support.
And I know we talked about it a little bit in that little bit of an intermission, but man, DOV got everything that they wanted out of this draft. It's incredible to me that like everything that they wanted to play got handed over. And that Mordekaiser pick, I'm really gonna be watching mid most of this game to see if that ends up working or not.
Yeah, we will see how that Mordekaiser is going to work out. Of course, Kaiser Mord is going to be sitting on that pick. 2 million mastery points on that champion, so definitely knows what he's doing at least, but we'll have to see how he actually handles it. Looked like they were thinking about an early invasion, but elected against it. Instead, we're just going to see some standard 5-man fan as we wait for minions to spawn here.
Yeah,
And we're talking about a little bit in Champ Select here, but I think we're really thinking the Mordekaiser, it's going to get shoved in, it's going to get bullied by Gunshin. There is the potential here from Hyatt's Jimmy and for Catholic to just hang mid lane constantly and try to deal with Gunshin once he pushes.
Yeah, and I agree. I think that's just an interesting like angle to take on this, though. I mean, like I agree that with you that that's probably what they would do, but if that was their strategy going into this, I think that that's an odd way to want to play the game when you had other options.
Yeah, lots of things they could have done instead, but electing not to, as we do have a bit of asynced jungle starts here, as Catholic will receive the leash on the blue side, and Blue Shift will receive the leaf on his blue side as well, so we may see some vertical jungles, or maybe a cheeky level 2 here from Blue Shift, but so far, junglers not doing too much, and a lot of these lanes, I feel, should be fairly standard for the first couple minutes until we see the jungler start a game.
Yeah, I agree. It's if you notice, there's that little bit of that early trade with Gunshin and Kaiser Mord, but I don't think it's going to be a very easy lane for him, and we're seeing similar stuff going on in the top lane. They're just taking hits back and forth. So I think really where this game is going to flip is going to be bot lane. I'm excited to watch this lane because I don't know the Mordecai or the Pantheon Leona matchup very well.
Yeah, and important to note here as well, Blue Shift did walk in and steal away the red buff from Catholit, so Catholit doesn't actually know it as Kaiser Mord. Got some good damage in there. Might try to look to continue the trade, but backs away instead. And Catholit still has no idea, so is probably going to get 3 buffed here from Blue Shift, which is a huge advantage already here for DOV Defiant.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said when I was looking into Blue Shift's match history, this guy is comfortable on set jungle, and I think it's very interesting that, you know, he was able to pull that off because ASU looked very disciplined with their start. You can see a little bit of a fight up here in the top lane. A little bit of damage from the Mango, but like I was saying, I loved that they 5-pointed. It completely shut down anything that they wanted to do from that early invade in the 5-stack, but they didn't ward their own buffs. And so because of that, you know, Set gets a very, very early experience boost on the Lilia.
Yeah, huge advantage here already gained, so looking to see if Blue Shift will maybe try to go for something a little bit aggressive once he gets his first back in. I would expect to finish up the Krugs and then a recall to try and grab that early jungle item here. But either way, already a decent advantage picked up here for DOV Defiant, and we talked about they had winning lanes, and this is just going to be another lane that's winning.
Yeah, and I hate to see it like this, because, man, I love when Mordekaisers can kind of bully out their lane, but this is just going to be a very boring laning phase for him. And we've seen that he's been taking some good trades, but he just takes so much off the back end of it being a melee champion that he's going to have some difficulty before he's able to hit 6.
Yeah, going to need to be playing quite safe here. We finally have an invasion here coming through from Catholit to try and at least get something on the backswing, but is not going to find anything more than just the Gromp and potentially the Wolves if he does decide to go a little bit more aggressively here. And we did actually have the blue side priority, so they were able to roll up and help the early Crab for Blue Shift. So a lot of resources being funneled into the set this early on.
And then Mordekaiser got his early back in, so he did pick up some boots, hoping probably to at least maybe sidestep a little bit better or be able to kind of fight a little bit more on the back end of those trades. But either way, that'll probably help him a little bit in the laning phase. Probably a smart buy. But we are going to see bot lane shoved in here, and Leona is going to be moving up. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit of a jungle move here from the whole bot side of the map, and they are moving up towards blue buff.
Yeah, we'll be trying to steal away whatever camps they can. Bit of a trade topside. Kexama, though, good Spirit's Refuge keeps him from taking the boot from the Ornn on the backside. The invasion does come through, so a lot of early game pressure trying to get Blue Shift up to an advantage, but he's actually still down in CS compared to Catholit.
Yeah, that's very weird to me that that's the case, but I'd like to see who gets to hit level 6 first, because I think that when that does happen, that is when ganks are going to be happening for both of these junglers. I'm sure that Set has Nimbus Cloak, but you're not really wanting to burn your flash like that on purpose if you can help it. So I'm excited to see where both these junglers try to move when that level 6 hits, because it looks like Catholit did in fact hit level 5 first. He's got a pretty good experience advantage, which is very odd. But we are going to see DOV move on to the Dragon and try to take this early and hopefully trade a little bit of what that lack of experience was for a little bit of an early game damage boost for these winning lanes.
Yeah, will be a big pickup if they're able to grab that away, especially in early Infernal. Not that relevant right now, but the scaling will be on their side, and there's no vision whatsoever. They have priority bot lane, so that is an easy pickup here. And DOV they're playing the map. They haven't needed to worry about getting an early gank or any level 2 cheese. They're just saying, no, we're just going to keep farming up. We know we have some winning lanes. We know we'll have priority everywhere on the map. What are you going to be able to do?
There's Mord taking another weird trade in the mid lane.
Here we go. Kaiser Mango actually pops the ultimate in the top lane here. He's going to get the damage down to Kexama, doing a bunch. Catholit is here as well, just for the cleanup, and picks up the first blood there. Easy as you please. ASU, they find something despite the early game advantages that DOV Defiant had gained.
And that's that experience advantage paying off. While they did sacrifice Dragon, Catholit power farmed perfectly and hit that level 6 spike first. That's going to give Mango a little bit of an advantage, an easier back timer, and Kexama's going to have to burn his TP to catch this wave or else risk being really behind in lane for the rest of the game.
Yeah, which is a big summoner to use here. As Kaiser Mango still sitting on his own teleport, so now even if Kexama looks to make a level 6 Shen play, he will have no easy way back into lane and will likely give over some plates to Mango. So overall, a great place for Catholit to be, saying we don't need that early Drake, but if we can get Kaiser Mango ahead and nullify the Shen a little bit, that might be the route to success.
And I may stand corrected here. I thought that both ultimates were popped in the top lane. Catholit hit 6, but did not burn it. So we're going to see him holding on to that, and I'm excited to see if there's going to be a 2v2 wherever Blue Shift looks to go.
Yeah, Blue Shift for his part has not been able to get much. He is pathing towards the blue side right now, but Catholit trying to do both camps at the same time will be able to yoink it, but he's getting collapsed on, doesn't quite know yet. Kexama coming down to check it out. It's only a matter of time they finally see each other, and this is going to be the Lilia prancing out to safety on the blast cone with that blue buff steal. There we go, gets to safety, and Kaiser Mango escorts him out. So there's that steal. The buffs are now equalized, and Catholit now is looking like he had the better of the early game.
That's a blast cone diff for sure. That blast cone had already been popped. That Lilia was dead to rights, but good to see that she gets out. She's going to get a good recall. Set still level 5. Hoping that this Gromp will give him level 6 because I really want to see something happen, and it still doesn't. So Lilia is pretty far ahead. And with that blue buff going over to her, she's going to be able to clear a lot faster and get that gank off much sooner.
Yeah, still looking to see if he wants to go anywhere else. Bit of a whiff on the pillar bash there from Mango, but Kexama has to walk away anyways. We finally see a little bit of roaming here from Jimmy, but hasn't been able to find anything quite yet. So ASU looks like they're content with just kind of playing this and waiting for openings to make a play onto Defiant.
Yeah, we saw Jimmy try to run up and make a gank happen, but he accidentally stepped out of the bush, and Gunshin just kind of danced around in a circle, and he decided to tuck his tail and go back to bot lane and try to help out Ashe.
Yeah, embarrassment. You just have to leave after that point. You can't stick around. So either way, 8 minutes on the clock here. No gold lead to speak of quite yet, but, and I know I talked about it a little bit, but the scaling on ASU, are we feeling like this is going to be where they are trying to play for, is just the late game, post 20 minutes, win every team fight, or are they going to actually take the worst of it here?
I honestly am not sure. I mean, like, that's the one point that I have a lot of difficulty talking on, because like, if you look at that comp by itself, standalone, you've got Orin, you've got Mordekaiser. Those are champions where you look for those late game team fights. But then when you compare it to DOV's composition and you see the Shin and the Set and the Orianna and even the Leona, like,
hold that thought. We're looking like a 5-man dive here. Gunshin is going to pop his head out of the bush, but he can't get anything. Heights, Jimmy goes on to him, but Stand United comes through. That was a poorly placed ball. He's going to get nothing for it as the Orn comes around from the side, but he's going to get stunned up. Shockwave comes through, but Jimmy's already taken down Gunshin. They're going to go into the Ashe. He's going to flash away. Hansha is getting stunned up. He's getting burned down. Sleepy Voice is able to pick that one up, and now Kexama in a bad spot. He's forced to flash, but I don't think there's anywhere he can go here. Gets slowed up. Heights, Jimmy takes that kill. Kaiser is roamed all the way down now. Sleepy Voice is on the run, but Catholit is here around the side. Don't think he even needs the lilting lullabies. There goes the phase rush. Double kill now picked up the highest Jimmy. In a terrible position here for boost to success. This is going to be ultimate coming through. The Lilia ult is going to be used, but cleansed away from boost to success. Summoner spells burned across the board, but that dive did not go the way DOV Defiant wanted it to.
And, you know, they finished my sentences for me, because that's exactly what I was going to say they needed to do. They need to make it explosive in the early game, and by God, they just did. Pantheon comes out of that with 3 kills, and honestly, and you said it, I think that was just purely misplay on the Orianna's part. She put the ball on top of herself when it was an easy kill on the Ashe.
Yeah, I was really expecting to see the command attack all the way onto the Ashe into the Shockwave, which just kills Hansha outright, but instead Gunshin, I don't know if it was a misclick or maybe an early thought. Actually, hold that thought. Catholit is there trying to get a little bit more damage down. Doesn't go for the watch out Eep though, so that will just be a bit of damage traded. Does have the Herald though, so ASU so far, they're looking like they have everything they want out of this early stage of the game, and they will likely be trying to pressure for this Drake.
It looks like they're just going to move towards Dragon and then decide after that where they want to drop this Herald, but it's looking like it'll probably go bot lane. Mordekaiser's getting shoved in and bot's getting pressure as it is. I think Lilia just starts this Drake. They look to harass under turret and force Kate into a recall, and we're going to have to see a fight top lane while all that's happening.
Yeah, not too much. A little bit of damage traded back as Caitlyn will be forced to recall in advance of this Drake. Has already been started by Catholit, who has not been sighted quite yet. They're pinging it out, though. There it is, actually, the flash away. Catholit will be able to get it and prance off to safety, but they're still pushing in. Blue Shift is on his way down. They are going to be on to Hansha, who's getting stunned up. He's getting pulled in. He is getting tackled back, and he has no chance at all. He does go down, but the 3-kill Pantheon hides Jimmy. He's looking for another double kill. There's his first game. Take down Sleepy Voice. The Orianna's here as well, but no Shockwave. He's going to get the double. He's going to try and keep fighting it out. He does get taken down. Shut down there by Gunshin, but another 2 kills picked up. This Pantheon is looking mad spicy.
That was a 600 gold shutdown at 11 minutes on the support. This Pantheon is so fed right now.
Absolutely massive. Who says you can't carry from the support position? You can ban away the Bard, you can ban away whatever it is that Heights Jimmy wants to play, but he's just going to bring out the Pantheon and kill everyone. He's already got that Umbral Glaive completed, so Halen is not going to be having a fun time once he gets back, especially with that ultimate.
And you know, I said he's so fed, but oddly enough, he's actually just got the same amount of gold as both AD carries have right now. It's just that Leona is the big difference for the gold gap right now, and it's not necessarily her fault, but man, that's going to be hard for that melee matchup support to be able to do anything when you're facing an AD assassin that's just ready to jump on you whenever he gets the chance.
A difficult situation indeed, and the lane may be swapping a little bit back on its head. Leona, one of those champs that really wants to get ahead early and use that advantage, but she's behind now, can't do much with the Pantheon existing, and now Herald gets summoned up mid. They will use it to get all those early plates, and I don't think they'll be able to take down the tower quite yet as Blue Shift and Gunshin are showing up, but that's even more gold into the pockets of ASU.
A little bit of what I might call a misplay there. I think that if you know you're not going to be able to get the turret, I think that you should just drop the Herald and give those plates over to one of your laners, or at least just to one person. But they share the gold, the Herald goes down, and that tower is going to live to see another day. But Lilia recalling close, question mark pinging the Orianna, so maybe looking to make something happen. The Lilia ult is still up. Ooh, and they are going to look to see if they can pick out Gunshin here and see if he'll overpush, but he thinks something's up.
Yeah, Gunshin pressuring in. That is going to be a Swirl Seed thrown and whiffed, so now Gunshin knows something's up, knows he doesn't need to push in, but the rest of the team starting to rotate mid lane here, at least to provide a little bit more pressure. That is a very low tower, and they elect against it at the end of the day, returning to regular lanes, so far so good, and Catholic, I think, has been just an outstanding playmaker here so far for ASU.
Yeah, honestly, and I apologize, because in the pregame I said that Catholic looked very underwhelming, at least from solo queue, but he's been the difference in a lot of these fights. I mean, no flack to Jimmy. Jimmy was incredible in that team fight dive in bot lane, but Catholic has just been completely out jungling the set, and I think that was a big detriment to DOV because I thought that their top and jungle were going to be their strong sides, but even after getting a draft where I felt like they had 3 winning lanes, it looks like they don't have a strong side to play around right now.
Not so much. The Shen has been mostly neutralized. Does have the ultimate and teleport available, so a little bit of mobility there. But so far, like you said, Catholic, he got the early Herald. He was able to equalize the Drake. He was able to help nullify the Shen on the top side of the map here, and that I think has been a huge contributing factor for why ASU is looking really, really strong in this game so far. Let's hold that thought. Heights, yeah. Jimmy, he is going to get seen by Blue Shift. Flash is going to be in, but that is going to be the Aegis protection, trying to keep him alive for just a little bit longer. He takes a ton of damage, but there's a ton more to follow. Another shutdown from Jimmy goes on to Gunshin here, who's saying, give me all of that gold back. So that Orianna is going to be pretty good. Jimmy maybe feeling himself a little too much there.
Yeah, and that's very interesting that you said the shutdown again, because he actually did not get a single kill since the last shutdown, so he was just that far ahead on gold relative to everyone else. But good to see that goes over to the Orianna. That's kind of where you want it to go. So that's like the glimmer of hope right now. But
Flash
the arrow,
Gunshin gets hit up. Gunshin gets banished to the Shadow Realm here. Kaiser Mord looking to finish this off. There's nowhere longer the Orianna can run. A flash comes through, but he can't escape, and the Realm of Death gains another victim. Kaiser Mord picks that up, but important to note that first tower blood did go down in favor of DOV Defiant.
Yeah, perfect animation cancels from the Mordekaiser to make sure everything hit while he was sucking into the Death Realm, but that Asher was very clean. But like you said, first tower does go over to DOV. While that first tower does go over, we are still looking at a 2,000 gold lead. Most of that is probably in the support pool right now, but good kill mid.
Yeah, good to find something. Great arrow there from Hansha as well, perfectly lining up the prediction. Even if they did give over that first tower, this is going to be second Herald claimed. Possibly drop mid just to guarantee that tower does go down, but Drake spawning here before too long, and I would be surprised if these teams didn't fight for it.
Here's my hot take. I think that Lilia might just drop that top lane and then run towards Dragon so that they just either lose the top turret. Well, that top turret might go down by itself. I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy.
Maybe so. We'll find out. Either way, Catholic has not elected to use it, as Kexamon does still have that stand united, can always catch the top lane wave and then equalize it, as actually teleport comes through here for Kaiser Mango. It's going to be a big play. Kaiser Mord is still on the top side of the map trying to equalize the Shen push here, as this is going to be teams jockeying for position. Sleepy Voice trying to step up, but ASU a little split. Here comes the Shen ultimate just to get Kexama there. Kaiser Mord does not realize it so far.
He's coming
on Kaiser Mango, taking a little bit of damage. Here comes the teleport finally. Ornhorn comes out. Call the Forge God goes in. This is going to hit onto the Caitlyn here. Kexamon trying to dash away. Hancha trying to hit on the backside here. Kathleen walks in and gets a 3-man sleep. This is going to be huge. The kills are going to be coming through. Kexamon goes down. That's immediate 3 getting taken out. Hides Jimmy picks up the 4. A double kill now. Blue Shift is the only survivor. DOV Defiant gets massacred. They give up the Drake, and ASU take a convincing fight.
Jimmy did so much work on the backline of that fight. I'm pretty sure that was a 5-man ultimate, and then he just killed the Caitlyn and the Orianna in the back. It was such an easy fight from them. And like I was saying, I thought that DOV was the team with the team fight ultimates, but this Pantheon is insane.
Yeah, hi, it's Jimmy pulling in clutch. Catholic as well, the 3-man lilting lullaby. Definitely a contributing factor there, and all of a sudden, it was looking fairly close there for a little bit. ASU had a bit of an advantage. DOV Defiant were able to fight back, but all of a sudden, that convincing of a team fight win, you give up another Drake, and ASU just looked like they are in the driver's seat this game.
A 5,000 gold lead at 17 minutes, and we're looking at 2 Drakes and setting up for what will be a Mountain Drake if it continues going down this same path. And that's going to be very nice to have that on, you know, Ashe in general. AD carries love having that extra shield, but having it on the Ornn and the Pantheon and all of these frontliners that you really don't want to deal with anyway, I think that's going to be an incredible Drake for ASU if that goes over.
If it goes that late, I would guess ASU would already have the game in the bag. Now, to be fair, Pantheon does fall off a little as the game progresses, so maybe a little bit of hope there for DOV Defiant. And really, I do want to talk about how does DOV Defiant find their way back into this game?
I think they have to play smarter in team fights. Like I said, their comp is just built for that. They can maybe look for picks with the Leona ult, but with all the AoE that they have and the map access with the Shin, I just can't believe they lost a team fight that hard when it was a perfect 5v5. And like you said, the gold values weren't that different, but it really is just Hyatt's Jimmy difference in that fight. He did so much work in the backline, and the 3-man Lilia ult just, it makes it impossible to coordinate when your team can't.
Yeah, it does make it challenging here as we see the bot laners are swapped up to the top side to try and continue bullying down that tower. Kaiser Mango will be haggling it as here we go. Lilting Lullaby comes out from Catholic. They are going to get the double stun. Here comes the ultimate from the Shen to try and save his jungler, but it doesn't matter. He's sucked into the death realm here. Does use that tackle back to try and survive a little bit longer, but Kaiser Mord takes it. Now he's in the middle of the fight. He's taking a bunch of damage. He does not get the indestructible off as here comes Jimmy. He's onto the backside here, jumping onto the Caitlyn underneath the tower, but I don't think he's going to be able to take the kill. He pops the Aegis protection, but he is not able to block all that damage with the shield. He gets shut down again by Gunshin. Gunshin now flashes forward. Catholic looking for a play. Gunshin actually completely whiffs on the ultimate here. Very low health bars, but I don't think Hancha can take this fight. Catholic trying to poke with a swirl seed, but at the end of the day, this is a fight that DOV Defiant are going to win.
Yeah, that's good. That's good lookings for them. That's exactly what they need to just do over and over again. Lilia is going to get out and I think forced to drop the Herald there based on timer, but that fight was very interesting. One interaction that I never really considered before was the fact that the Shin ulted someone that ended up getting pulled into Mordekaiser, and so that didn't really make a difference for that person. But like you said, Mordekaiser just ended up in a bad spot at the end of that Delph realm and got picked out. But DOV does that over and over again. I think that's how they have to close the gap.
Yeah, and it was a bit of an interesting fight. It did feel like ASU were pressuring a little harder than they maybe needed to. As here we go, they're skirmishing again here. Kaiser Mango takes a bunch of damage here. He's trying to walk away. Very tanky on the Ornn, forced to flash away, but they take Blue Shift with them, and now he's stuck on the wrong side of the wall. Lilting Lullaby does come out. He will be taking the damage from the Watch Out Eat, but he's not dead yet. He's forced to flash back over the wall to safety here. Flash traded for Flash here. Top laner for jungler. At the end of the day, though, no one goes down.
And with Orianna whiffing the ult at the back end of that last fight that we saw over by Rift Herald Pit, she didn't have that to be able to secure those 2 kills, and that's just kind of what we're talking about with comfort on these champions. When you miss ults like that and don't get anything for it, it feels really bad when you wish you had it in scenarios like that.
Yeah, and that's the second ultimate we've actually seen Gunshin just not be able to set up properly. So maybe just picking the Orianna because they know it's a safe pick, but not necessarily being super comfortable on it. Of course, does have the blue buff plus the Luden's Echo, so we'll have a decent amount of CDR, and that is a low cooldown ultimate. Fact is already available again, but you have to make it happen in those team fights, or Orianna doesn't really do a whole lot.
And we see that the team fight ults are coming back up for DOV, so they might be looking for something here. Baron is alive. It's a minute into its life, so probably not looking for anything now. But the Drake is coming up, but oddly enough, they're clearing vision top side. So I would like to see them maybe force that vision bot since there's 90 seconds till Dragon. But that's just good for ASU, I guess, if they're going to be handed over vision control for free.
ASU, they will be prowling around the bot side, realizing, hey, there's no one here. We can go ahead and take this up, and that isn't even going to be tower pressure here from Boosted Success or Sleepy Voice. They're both recalling and starting to rotate towards the bottom side, but it does still mean ASU will have a slight vision advantage early, and I think this is going to be just a recap of the last Dragon fight we had.
I think it's a very big misplay to wait this long to move your team down there to get Dragon pressure, because this Dragon is very important. If this Dragon goes over, that's soul point for ASU, and it's obviously already time for Baron, and Baron's not going to go down. It's not going to be traded for this Mountain Drake. And what that means for DOV is that if this Drake goes over to ASU, they're going to have to decide on the next one, and DOV will be able to pick between either Baron or Mountain Soul.
Yeah, not a position you really want yourself to be in here, as we have top laners split pushing. They both have ultimates available. Kexama sitting on Stand United as well, so he's going to go match the push. He has the ability to join the fight much more quickly than Kaiser Mango, as here we go. The Drake has been started. Blue Shift has gained position on it, as here comes the teleport from Kaiser Mango. Ash Ultimate is going to come through. The Mordekaiser's on the Blue Shift. He's taking the damage. Horn comes out, but it is going to go back in. Big CC here, and now Hansha takes down Blue Shift. They are going to get the damage down to the back line here. Kaiser Mord doing so much for the team. This is going to be the Drake finish on the backside here. This is the Orianna gets taken down. Boosted Success goes down. Gunshin actually still alive. He's not quite dead yet, but he will eventually burn down to death. The fight is still going on, though. Mango on the hunt. He's looking for the knock-up here onto Kexama. Kexama surviving with the help of that Spirit Refuge, but I don't think there's anywhere he can go. Sleepy Voice tries to go back up the wall, but he misses it. I don't think he wanted to at the end of the day, so probably a good that he missed. But that is Drake claimed. That is the team fight one for ASU. They're pinging out the Baron. They might just be able to take this before respawns come through. DOV Defiant, they couldn't take it yet again.
Man, that's a ideal scenario here for ASU, and like you said, they're going to jump on this Baron, and when I was saying they would have the option in the next 5 minutes to choose between either Mountain Soul or Baron, it looks like they're just going to get the Mountain Drake. They're going to get the Baron for free, and this is going to force DOV into a horrible position, because they're almost at a 10k gold deficit, and after this, they're going to be playing for Elder or Baron, and that's not a decision you want to have to make when your team just looks for team fights, you know? And if you're already losing these team fights, when you very clearly have the better team fight composition, I don't know what your hope is.
Yes, actually, here we go. Catholic, I think, is a little too hyphy. He goes for the blue buff steal, but he gets pulled in. There was a shockwave landed. He gets dunked back, flashes away, but the ace in the hole is already on him. Gets shut down. Catholic maybe feel himself a little bit too much there and does get taken down on the backside of that fight. But either way, ASU, they've still gotten their cake and got to eat it as well. They have the Baron, they have Soul Point. They're in such a good spot here, and DOV Defiant, I just don't think they have it in them to win the team fight. So what do they do from here if you're a team fight comp that can't win team fights?
Like I was going to say, it took 3 ultimates to just take down that Lilia. And honestly, if the Caitlyn ult didn't hit, I don't know if the Lilia would have died, because the blast cone was up, and I would have hated to see that again. But man, ASU just looks so good right now.
Yeah, definitely on point. They're able to make the team fight initiations happen. It does help that they were so far ahead at the start. It's Jimmy obviously being able to carry through the early game, and now here we are post 20 minutes. About a 7,000 gold lead here for ASU, and trying to start the split push in all the lanes here. They do have a limited window to use this Baron buff. We'll have to see if they're able to get any towers, but they're looking in such a great spot.
Yeah, I mean, and this is just impressive to me. I mean, the resolve and the discipline from ASU to be able to take a team comp like this and make it work in the areas that it shouldn't. Like, their team comp is okay for team fights, but to just be so incredibly dominant against DOV when their whole team comp is built for these 5v5s and make it look simple, I think it's very impressive for them. It probably feels very good for them, and it's very demoralizing from DOV to have to like fight these over and over again and think, is this the fight where we just lose the game at this point?
They're trying to answer back with whatever they can. Gunshin is going to get knocked up, but he should be just fine popping that shield, keeping himself alive, but tanking up some minions, so a little bit of damage in advance as the 1-3-1 is kind of coming out here for ASU, knowing that they can use the advantage of play around all this dead zone, as the vision is just not there at all here for DOV Defiant. So not a great spot, as here we go. The pressure is on both sides. This will just be 2 towers, I think, conceded before Baron even has a chance to wear off, so continuing to open that gold gap.
And this is going to be a bit of a lull in the game right now, because nothing big is going to be spawning. Baron is just now wearing off, and Dragon is a bit out from actually respawning. So I think what they do here is they just, like I said, look for picks, and here it comes.
Here we go. It was Sleepy Voice was looking for the flank play onto Hansha, but he gets caught out in transition. Catholic does pick that one up, and it was looking like they were looking to try and push back. Because actually, Kaiser Mango, he's really doing well in the Gunshin here.
And
But
I
it
do
was
want
looking like ASU were just about to start recalling and maybe resetting, and all of a sudden they get a pick, and they can just keep going on the inhibs now.
Yeah, this is a horrible position for DOV. Baron still has not run out, and they're just picking off pieces of the base, and like there's nothing they can do to stop him. Baron will go down here. I did want to point out that Hancha is out-leveling both solo laners of DOV, but we're going to see
Here we go. Ornn, Horn, and Realm of Death have both been used up here as Blue Shift is going to be stuck up in the Shadow Realm. There's nowhere he can go. There's nothing he can do. He is going to finally pop out. Tackles the Mordekaiser back. Kaiser Mord is going to take a bunch of damage here. He does get the Indestructible off this time. He's going to be taking a bunch of damage, but he survives, and now they're trying to re-engage on the backside here. Mango gets focused down, though. Mango goes down. Punch is just trying to finish off that inhibitor, but can't quite do it. Kaiser Mord is going to survive that ace in the hole. The inhib lives with a sliver. ASU, they tried so hard to make that happen, but they couldn't take that fight. DOV Defiant, they cling on.
Honestly, I think that was a big misplay by ASU. There was no reason to force a fight under that inhib, and I think that if they didn't, they could have just slow pushed that out. I think DOV would have been too scared to try to make a 5v5 happen, but because the Mordekaiser decides to go in, because he burns the Death Realm so early on the set, I think it made it a very easy decision, and because of that misplay, they're going to probably lose this Mountain Drake.
The Mountain Drake has already spawned up, and it should be pressured down. I don't think there's anything that ASU can do. They are just going to recall, reset, and get ready for the next fight here. To kind of return to the previous point, I believe Gunshin did whiff the ultimate again on the top side of the map, so it might have been ASU saying, there is no shockwave, we can just pick this fight, but that's, I think, where their team fighting tools sort of start to show how they're not that effective. You weren't able to do anything with the Mordekaiser ultimate, you weren't able to get anything with the Ornn ultimate, and all of a sudden, even if you're playing from behind, if the enemy team doesn't use their ults properly in a full-on team fight, I think DOV Defiant can still win.
And I think another big point to hit on is the fact that it's what you said earlier. The Pantheon does fall off, and he is falling off. I've noticed it in the last few team fights that while he's able to get that backline access and lock down some of those champions, he is not deleting them like he was 10, 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, so not quite where he was before. Now, also important to note here, though, Ornn, level 15, starting to get those upgraded items through. So Heights, Jimmy, and Hancha have both gotten their items upgraded on top of Kaiser Mango's own upgrade. So the gold lead, it already looks bad here for DOV Defiant, but it's technically even worse because of Mango giving over essentially an additional 3,000 gold that cannot be equalized at all by DOV Defiant.
Yeah, this is going to be a very tough position, and I know I was thinking it was going to come through a little earlier in the game. I didn't think that they were going to grab the first Baron as quickly as they did, but now we're going to be looking at that position soon where if they don't take Baron on spawn, they're going to be in a very safe position where they can choose to just give over another Drake and take Baron, or they can give over Baron and think that they're not going to lose enough to make a difference and then just take the Mountain Drake and play for the next team fight.
Yeah, they do have the options to try and play around these global objectives, and I think that's what ASU needs to do. They need to be trying to force DOV Defiant back into these fights as Blue Shift takes a Swirl Seed, but there will be no Lilting Lullaby to come through over the top, so trying not to pick off the set, probably a good idea, but the Baron is spawning up here. Kaiser Mord will be getting the reset with the teleport available. Kexama, though, has his own, so it will come down to this Baron fight, and if DOV Defiant can make a play here, but they don't even know what's happening.
Exactly. They have no vision. They've made no efforts to get this vision pressure down, and the Baron's up. It's already halfway gone, and no one's there. This is just going to go over to ASU.
Yeah, 3,000 HP getting lower. Blue Shift is finally walking up, but it's too late. The Baron has already gone down, and the rest of the team is going to be forced to back away here. Hancha sitting on the ultimate if they want to try and force something. Cathalit actually galloping after them to look for maybe a Lilting Lullaby play, but misses that looming blow, so will be forced to back away. Now, the Baron again on ASU, and I think this should just be a simple push into the base, use your Baron, and end the game from here.
Yeah, and like, you know, you hate to be in that position as DOV, but we know exactly what's going to happen. They don't make the same mistake twice. I think ASU is a smarter team than that, and they're just going to slow push these waves into the mid inhib until it goes down and swap to bot or top, because bot and top have lost the same amount of turrets, and both lanes are pushing in, so they just have options. I wouldn't be surprised if they just split and take the base away.
Yeah, it can always go back to that 1-3-1 that worked so effectively on the last Baron. You just kind of put both of the Kaisers in opposite lanes. You put the rest of the team in the mid lane here, pressuring on that exposed inhib, and I don't think there's anything they can do. Caitlyn Traps, though, will stall this out for a little bit longer. And we do have a game pause here, so taking a little bit of time maybe to think about this, but not a great situation here for DOV Defiant, but they do have some tools to stall the game.
Yeah, it looks like Leona said she's having a little bit of technical issues, so we're going to be waiting on that. But let's talk a little bit about what's going on right now. They've got a Baron push going in. They have 3 pushing lanes right now, which is ideal. I mean, they've timed this perfectly. Mountain Soul is going to come up in, I think, 3 minutes. And They are well set up to take 3 inhibitors right now. I think what they do is they send Pantheon up to the top lane, and they just slow push these 3 waves in because they have both TPs. Every single one of their ultimates is up right now, and DOV, I don't think, can match in a XVX scenario. You're not going to be able to 2v2 the Ashe Pantheon. You're not going to be able to 2v2 like the Mordekaiser Lilia with anyone. And I think that they just look to play on those advantages and just yo-yo back and forth on these waves until everything drops. There's not a lot of scenarios where DOV gets out of this game.
So the question I have for you then is, does DOV Defiant go for the all or nothing play? Do they attempt to force an initiation just to try and stall that out? Because like you said, they lose if they play slow. The Baron buff is just going to give too many advantages. So do they go for broke, try to pick a team fight, even though they haven't been that successful so far, and maybe it works, maybe it doesn't?
I'll answer that in 2 ways. I will answer it in from a caster's perspective. What I think they have to do is yes. I think they actually have to make the all for broke play right now, because if they don't, like we said, it's just a slow push until the game ends. They're 10,000 gold down, effectively like 13,000 with the Ornn items. And if they just let these things drop, they don't come back from, 2 super minion waves in all 3 lanes. But if they go for broke now, they try to make a team fight happen, there's a chance that they get the kills, they take some Barons off, and they might actually be able to preserve 2 inhibitors. I think the mid goes down no matter what happens, but I mean, ASU just looks so dominant that if I'm in the game, if I'm in DOV's chair, like I said, from the 2 points of view, I don't know if they want to try to risk it. The way that they've been playing all game is very slow. They play very reactively instead of proactively. And I think that they're just going to wait for ASU to get impatient and make a fight happen. But I don't know if ASU is going to make that mistake. I think that they just take what they can get. They move back to the Dragon. They get the Mountain Soul, and then they just push in and win a team fight because they'll have everything in their back pocket that they need to win it.
Yeah, and we've seen how patient ASU can play as gameplay does resume here and the siege comes through. But we've seen ASU. They've been able to play really defensively as Kaiser Moore just walks into the base. Okay, yes, that definitely was a DC here. So that is going to be a bad situation for ASU. You hate to see it happen, but that is the pain of playing on Wi-Fi. So likely a kill here. And, I hate to say it because it was a technical problem, but this might actually be what DOV Defiant needs to get back in it unless they opt to let him walk out.
Yeah, and they are asking, can he walk out, ? But if I'm DOV, I'm going to say, oh, sorry, accidentally pressed my Orianna ult and killed the Mordekaiser, because they have to take any handout they can get at this point.
That's like in ranked, no one likes it when you beat up on the guy who's AFK and get first blood off of that, but you take what you can get. You're playing to win here, so I would not hold it against DOV Defiant. Really, really bad timing here for ASU, though. Like I said, you absolutely hate to see it, so we will see when they resume play if they'll let Kaiser Moore to walk out with his life. I highly doubt it, but DOV Defiant, we were kind of saying they sort of need a miracle. This might be it.
Yeah, the hardware difference, the internet difference might be what can give DOV a shot in this game. But if they do let Mort out, which is the honorable thing to do, I think that also sort of just secures a loss, because if they walk into this next play with 5 Barons on ASU, I don't see how they're going to win it.
Yeah, well, you might lose the game, but you will walk away with your honor. DOV Defiant says, we are not without our honor, and we will let Kaiser Mord escape. Now, it does stall the game a little bit as he is forced to channel that recall, potentially use the teleport to get right back in. So, at the very least, DOV Defiant, you might lose the game, but you are going to win a lot of points for being honorable. As here we go, the team fight is actually engaged. They know Mordekaiser's in base here. Ornhorn comes through. Gunshin already chunked out very low. He only gets 1 with a shockwave here. Sleepy Boy's going to get chained down the backside. Gunshin goes down. Cathalet is in. He's getting the damage through. Kaiser Mord has sucked away Kexama into the Shadow Realm. He goes down. Blue Shift goes down. Boost to Success is the only survivor, and he's not long for the roll. Hanja flashes the wall just to get the kill here. They let Kaiser Mord walk away, and like you said, they lost the game for it. So they keep their honor, but they lose game 1 to ASU.
Yeah, they did what they thought was best. I mean, they went for broke, and they went broke. It's sad to see. Mordekaiser was allowed to walk out. I think he did the polite thing by recalling, but he ended up just TPing back for the fight right as the fight was starting to happen. But like we said, 5 Barons into a 13k gold deficit. We're just going to see this first game go over to ASU.
ASU, they're able to take it very clean play, very methodical play, and they did get a little help from DOV Defiant. They could have thrown that last team fight and then been forced to recall. The game goes a little bit longer, and the longer the game goes, the more the team that's behind has the chance to come back in. But either way, you have to say that was a really, really good play here from ASU. They basically ran a clinic on DOV Defiant.
Yeah, that's interesting to me. Man, you look at that Oriana damage, she was trying so hard, but that's impressive to me because I just felt like the Oriana was not doing a lot in that game.
Now, it is Oriana still, and even hitting Shockwave on a couple of champions means your damage is going to be quite high. So maybe not the worst pick of the world for Gunshin. He's got the game under his belt. He was hitting Shockwaves there by the end of the game, so they may opt to give it to him again in the next game if they have to blind pick the mid laner. But we are going to be hopping into a brief intermission here, guys, as we set up here for game 2. Don't go anywhere. When we return, we'll have ASU versus DOV Defiant game 2. Welcome back to the cast, ladies and gentlemen. We're here getting set up for Game 2 of DOV Defiant versus Arizona State University. ASU being able to take that Game 1 off of just very clean play. And we were talking about a little bit between the games. They drafted 5 losing lanes and just outplayed the opposition.
Unbelievable, honestly. I mean, ASU looks so dominant, and I would hate to say that that was on purpose and that they were just flexing their muscles, but when you're playing for first place and you can make a statement like this, first place in their groups, will you? But if you can do that and you're going into a blue side draft, I mean, we're looking at what I would like to think is going to be a very strong 2-0. I mean, I don't like to take sides, but I'm taking sides. I think ASU takes this series.
Yeah, they definitely showed that they could play methodical, they could get the outplays, and they could get those just early macro advantages. We even saw Blue Shift, he got the 3 buff over Catholit, and we were saying, oh, well, that's a huge advantage here for DOV Defiant, but at the end of the day, it didn't matter. In fact, you still saw Catholit hit level 6 first, so maybe just a mechanical outplay. Now that the sides are swapped, DOV Defiant will have that absolute last pick. Do we see some maybe different flex picks come out? Can we see DOV back on some of their preferred champions?
I mean, I don't know what to say about these drafts now. We just watched ASU in what I would like to say was just getting completely bodied in draft, but when they got into the game, it didn't matter. I don't see how they play worse with even a single winning lane.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be difficult, of course, and we talked about a little bit in the game, but Gunshin not looking that great on the Orianna.
No.
Missed a bunch of shockwaves. He wasn't able to get that early play that we kind of said was one of the focal points of the games. Now that he's got absolute last pick, he does have that sort of scaling champion pool with the Azir, with the Aurelion Soul, maybe getting some roams on. Is there the potential here to see him actually pick up something that's going to be more impactful in the game, something he's more comfortable on? Is that the difference maker?
I don't know. I mean, like, I would like to think so, because some of those mechanical misplays by the Orianna looked like what I would hope is just not being comfortable on the champion. And I think if that's the case, you just, in all scenarios, you pick something more comfortable, because you can't be making those mistakes on stage. You can't be making those mistakes when you're playing for first place in your group. And I don't know. I think it's interesting because even in that situation, he got a very easy lane. I mean, Orianna into Mord, that is a hard lane from Mord, and it didn't look like the Mordekaiser had hardly any trouble at all in that laning phase.
Yeah, Kaiser Mord was just kind of able to sit there farming up. He wasn't really able to get poked out of lane at all. There was no help for Blue Shift, who more or less power farmed like that entire game. So unfortunately, that's not what you want to see at all here. Now, there may be some substitutes happening here. We're still looking in Champ Select. Map Slim looks like he might be coming in for Kaiser Mord now that they're on the blue side. Maybe putting in a mid laner with a bit of a different champion pool, maybe something more assassin oriented. I know we kind of talked about he did play the Kiana, which is good into the Azir. It's good into the Aurelion Soul. But, is that the sort of counter pick here, knowing that Gunshin doesn't have anything he can really bring out to deal with it? Or is this just, all right, you guys had your fun game 1 when you're on blue side. Now we're just going to end it now that we're on blue side?
Yeah, so here's the deal. Here's what I want to touch on. Kaiser Mord, you look at his OP.DG, the dude is not a mid lane player. He plays some mid lane champions top lane. He plays Vladimir, he plays Swain, he plays Mordekaiser, he plays Pantheon Yone, if you will. He does play a little bit of Zed, but for the most part, it looks like he primarily uses top. Map Slim, on the other hand, does play mid lane. He is D1 versus Kaiser Mord's D3. He has an insane win rate on Galio, on Rumble, and on Kiana, with a lot of games on those champions. And those are champions that we don't commonly see mid lane. You'll see the Galio here and there, but Kiana isn't a fan favorite for a lot of mid laners, and Rumble mid is kind of unconventional aside from some counter matchups, but this dude plays them consistently. And if he's able to be handed a Galio or a Kiana or a Rumble, I mean, after watching last game, I don't think DOV's mid laner is going to be able to handle that matchup.
Yeah, it could be very difficult. And we kind of talked about as well for Kexima, important to get him on the Shen, something that can kind of get ahead early because of how strong he is in lane, then use that advantage to snowball the mid lane and the bot lane as well. Well, if you're dealing with a Galio or Twisted Fate, well, all of a sudden you've got a global to counteract that global. And then the play sort of becomes from DOV Defiant, well, what do? Do you still pick the Shen and force them to play something global? Do you try to pivot to something else? Is there anything else that Kexima can play competitively? But all those questions and more will be answered. We are into the draft here. ASU deciding they're going to take out the Thresh right off the bat here, and DOV Defiant thinking about that first ban.
I would like to see, so I will point this out. Okay, DOV is going to ban out the Galio. I think it's very weird that ASU is banning out the Thresh, because You know, Jimmy is a very good Thresh player, but the Galio is going to be taken out. I think that these the TF should also be taken off the board. Okay, they're going to take off the Shin. That was the point that I was going to make, was I think they take off his mid laners that can roam very easily, which are the Galio and the Twisted Fate. I think the reason to do that is because I think that their top laner needs to be put on something that can do really well, and Shin is one of those champions. And if you can counteract the counteraction of having that roaming mid laner, you can use that roaming top laner to better your advantage. But we're going to see the Shin get banned out anyway, and we're going to see the Lucian also be taken off the board by DOV.
Yeah, so those are going to be the bans here. Now, DOV, we may still see the Twisted Fate ban, as it is still Map Slim in the mid lane, and he is very skilled on that pick as well. Caitlyn is going to be the ban here for ASU. I think it makes a lot of sense, trying to prevent that sort of pushing mid lane, or pushing bot lane, excuse me. So I think that does make a lot of sense here. The Lucian banned out, a good flex pick. DOV now thinking about it, and they will take out the Pantheon instead, and a first pick lock in here, Samira for ASU.
Oh, I'm so excited to see this. Very interesting. Very, very interesting that they would grab it away, because like I said, I was looking through the match history. This, I think, is less of a pick for power and more of a pick to steal, because DOV's AD carry looks really good on Samira. ASU's AD carry does not look good on Samira. So I think that this is more or less just a pick to say, we're not going to let you have it, but they're just going to pick Kai'Sa into it. They're going to look for those early duels.
Yeah, now, obviously, Samira could be flexed around still. I think she's still finding her footing. Some people have been playing her in the solo lane. Don't know how successful it is, but there is the potential to flex that around. But if Hansha isn't good at playing it, this is just a straight take it away. You can't play the Samira because we know it's going to get through. We have other ban priorities. So the Kai'Sa here from DOV, and they're going to follow it up with an Alistar.
That's an interesting decision, to blind your bot lane that hard when you know the Samira can still be flexed. And like I was saying, or like I was going to say, the Shin ban would make sense if they want to flex that Samira to the top lane, because that's one of his 3 champions that he plays. And the Resolve looks, Spirit's Refuge rather, looks really nice when you're facing against a Samira. We're going to see this counter go pretty low. They're going to grab the Nautilus. So that's also really weird for me. They didn't take the Kai'Sa Nautilus either. But Jimmy does have a lot of experience on the Naut. I'm excited to see him play this. I think that this will be great for playmaking. And if that Samira is bot, I think we're going to see a very, very one-sided laning phase, because that Nautilus-Alistar matchup is not going to be fun for those two.
No, definitely a very aggressive bot lane here for ASU, so maybe not as much of an equalized lane and try to scale as much as it is going to kill them early. And Graves is through this time around, so that is going to be picked up here for the jungler for ASU, which is actually Adam W. This time around, they did sub out Cathalit, so important to note there. But either way, the Graves is going to be locked in here, so a lot of early game aggression here for ASU in this first half of the pick phase. DOV likely will try to grab the jungler here and sit on their last 2 picks. They could take the top, though, because they do have this first pick out of the second bans. Instead, they opt for the Hecarim, another champion that was banned in the last game, available now.
And yeah, like I was going to say, jungle for DOV looks really good. Blue Shift's Hecarim is one of his better junglers, and I think that, you know, maybe this will be the difference maker. The set looked okay, but it looked kind of ineffective when it came to actually doing his job. They're going to ban the Kiana away. They're going to ban the Kayle away. I think what they do here is I think that they take the Jax off the board as well, and they just say, we're not going to let you have those 3 champions that you play out anymore. The Galio and the Rumble are going to be taken off the board, which leads me to believe that they will grab a Twisted Fate here. And if they grab the Twisted Fate, ASU's comp's going to look nasty.
Yeah, definitely a lot of aggression they can put out early, a lot of global roaming you can get with that Twisted Fate. The Aurelion Soul here, though, is going to be the ban instead, so DOV, they have the option to go for the Jax if they want it here, but it can still get counterpicked in ASU. They can pretty much guess Kexamal will try to go for it. So is this the sort of fake out where DOV says, we're going to pick our mid laner here, and you're going to think we're going to play the Jax? No, they're not going to even try to play the mind game. They're just going to pick the Ornn. It's safe, it's comfortable, it gives you that scaling edge that we saw in the last game. I think this makes sense.
It's an interesting pick, because I honestly think that the Jax is not a bad pick into what ASU already has, you know, laid out on the table. I think that Jax into Samira and Jax into Graves is very good. That gives them a safe top lane to play against. But the Ornn pick's going to come out. The Sylas probably going... Ooh, that could be a really good matchup for Sylas top. I think Sylas is an incredible pick here, because that gives him Hecarim ult and Ornn ult. And while you don't get much from Kai'Sa or Alistar, I mean, the Hecarim and the Ornn ult is huge when you're able to steal that away and nullify rather, you know, that trade of team fight pressure when you're just like, we're just going to take it. And that is going to go into the top lane. It's going to be an Orianna mid blinded, and I'm excited. I'm excited. It's a lot of AP, a lot of AD, a comfortable Nautilus player. Their team comp is looking really good.
Yeah, ASU with a very solid lane here. Of course, they're forced to opt into the Orianna blind and electing to not go for the Twisted Fate and open themselves up to a possible counter pick here. So that is going to be important to note, but solid team fighting. And essentially, they don't need initiation when Silas can steal that Ornn initiation and use it back against them. DOV now sitting on that last pick. Would not be surprised to see the Azir as they have the front line to play it. Instead, it's going to be the Rise. Also makes sense. Another high damage AP carry that you can put in that mid lane. Sort of fine to the Orianna. Will get pushed in a little bit, but super good scaling. And this is just a straight, even bigger, beefier team fight composition for DOV.
I'm thinking the exact same thing. The only thing that I don't like about DOV is last game, like we said, 5 winning lanes. It looked like their comp was just better on paper than ASU. But when I look at these two comps, I think it's completely flipped. I think DOV has 5 losing lanes now. I mean, I know that the Silas Ornn is probably Silas favored. It seems like something that Silas will be able to excel in and take those, like, you know, short trades that Ornn can't really follow up on. The Orianna is going to be able to bully the Rise pretty hard in laning phase, and I don't see a world where the Alistair Kai'Sa outplays and outfights Samira Nautilus in just the level 2 stat check. And when Kai'Sa gets behind like that early, especially into a hyper carry champion like Samira, I mean, this is going to be a nightmare for DOV unless they can do what ASU did in the last game and just make a miracle happen with their comp and make them look better than they are.
Yeah, now to play devil's advocate here a little bit, ASU does have a lot of champions that essentially need to be ahead, that don't do a lot if they're behind. Samira, very limited utility. Nautilus can't get a lot done if he's too squishy to survive an initiation. Graves, the same kind of deal. So if DOV can find their early game advantages, if Blue Shift is able to perform better on this Hecarim, is able to get those early game aggression going and sort of shut down ASU, there is the potential that ASU just kind of hard loses this game.
Yeah. Hey, you know, I would like to see that. I would love a game 3. But it's hard to want to lean towards that. And again, like, I'm playing devil's advocate to the devil's advocate here because after ASU had such a dominant performance with what looked like a horrible draft on paper, I don't, like I said, I don't know how they lose when they have just 1 winning lane. And I really do think that they have 3. And if ASU can play that well from that much of just a stat deficit in the early game, when they have those winning lanes in the early game, I just don't see DOV having the scaling and having the potential to make it to those mid and late game team fights and like actually make something happen.
Right, and to be fair as well here, this is a different look for ASU. Adam W is in the jungle position, and Map Slim is going to be substituting in for the mid lane. So even if DOV was thinking, well, we kind of figured out what ASU was doing, maybe we got this game on lock now that we played them once, all of a sudden things are different from ASU. They have that different sort of mid duo. So all of a sudden, it's just a different look. And DOV Defiant, they're going to have to show us that they can not only adapt to different picks in a different sort of play style, but also adapt to different players entirely on ASU.
I know. And like, I don't like saying this. I don't like comparing players on the same team to other players. But just looking from the OPGGs, well, the information that I had available, Map Slim looks much better than Kaiser Mord just on paper. And I think when you're putting such an experienced mid laner with so many games at a high elo, I think that, again, it just might be a skill differential. And there is a big rank differential between these two teams. And, you know, you would not love to see such a massive gap between what are currently our top 2 teams in this division. But if ASU runs away with this game as well, I mean, we're going to be looking like ASU is probably just going to take this whole division in stride.
Yeah, this will be the one that sells it, though. Like we said, DOV Defiant, they did lose game 1, but they have 2 more games to make it up if they want to get this run back and if they want to show that they are the best team in the Cloud division here. So not giving it over quite yet. And to be fair, they do have a lot of tools that can help them play from behind. You have a lot of utility-based champions, you have a lot of CC, and you have 2 carry champions that do just so much damage playing behind a big, beefy front line. Unlike in the previous game where Blue Shift, not that durable on the set. You didn't have Kexamod that durable on the Shen because of how far behind they were. This time around, you've got the Call of the Forge God. You've got the Alistair ult that just says you're tanky now. There is potential here if this is a 20-plus minute game here from DOV Defiant. So I think we're going to have to see a different playstyle from ASU. Instead of playing the scaling game, they have to play fast.
Yeah, and I will talk a little bit. I know I've been really hyping ASU up, but I do like that DOV's comp scales significantly better than ASU's comp does. Or did I say ASU twice? DOV's comp scales very well. You've got the Kaisa for the scaling. You've got the Hecarim, who scales great. You've got Rise, and then you've got just the innate passive of Orin to be able to upgrade all of those items. And I love ASU's comp. I think it's going to be great for their playstyle and their early game dominance. But when you again look at this on paper, and it didn't speak to much last game, but on paper, DOV's composition, once you hit that 25-30 minute mark, when your carries are hitting those 3-item power spikes, way easier team fights. And while the Silas is still able to take away the Ornn and the Hecarim ults before those fights come in, and maybe match a little bit of that team fight engage, that team fight pressure, I mean, you're just going to get raw stat checked. A 3-item Kaisa is terrifying.
Yeah, absolutely beefy, absolutely difficult to deal with. So a different look here for DOV, ASU as well, and we'll have to see who can execute better on their new team compositions. We're going to be hopping into an intermission, but before we go, I do want to give a brief shout out to the Unified Esports Association. They are a Kansas-based company that oversees multiple products that specialize and operate as a dynamic pipeline within the esports industry, providing shared experiences that directly serve collegiate, youth, hobbyists, and amateur video game players at every stage. Starting as a small student group out of Wichita State University, since then, UEA has grown to be a veteran organizer to tournaments and events throughout the U.S. They host tournaments for games like League of Legends, Rocket League, and Overwatch. For more information, you can check them out at uea.gg. We're going to be hopping off here for a quick intermission, but when we come back, we'll have Game 2 of Arizona State University versus DOV Defiant. Don't touch that browser. Welcome back to the cast, ladies and gentlemen. We are here on the Rift for Game 2 of Arizona State University versus DOV Defiant. ASU with a very, very good Game 1. They played slow, they played smart, and they played to win. But now a couple different players in for ASU. Matt Slim in the mid lane and Adam W in the jungle, and playing a different kind of composition. We'll see if this is enough for DOV Defiant to get the Game 2 they need.
Yeah, and we're seeing ASU try to make that that invade happen. It looks like he's going to just let Graves solo invade. Maybe try to bait out a little bit of a collapse with all 5 of them there. But like you said, with the subs coming in, I think it's good call to put in what might be your better mid laner if he wasn't available for Game 1. But swapping out Catholic for Adam W, interesting play with how dominant Catholic's performance was in last game. And like I said, it might just be a muscle flex again to say, our jungler outperformed yours. Let's see if our backup jungler can do it too.
Yeah, maybe trying to get Adam W a bit more play since you're up a game. You're thinking, yeah, these guys have got nothing. But like we were talking about a little bit here, this is so much easier for DOV Defiant to play this game and this composition as opposed to the last game.
Yeah,
so,
I'm excited.
Hold on. Late invade here from Hyatt's Jimmy. He is going to flash forward. He's going to get the root into the pull, into the knockups here. Boost of Success is going to be forced to flash away. He is igniting. He's burning down, but Hansha, I don't think has the damage. He finally flashes forward, but cancels an auto attack. He might not be able to get it from here. He needs one more. He does get it finally. First blood here picked up for the Samira. Hansha getting it. A bunch of summoners blown, but that's the early game advantage that this team from ASU needs.
And that's incredible for ASU because now Graves is going to get the blue buff. The Hecarim is going to be forced to play topside. But Kaiser Mango's got a winning matchup, so it's going to be difficult for him to be able to make anything happen when the Ornn is playing at the Silas's discretion.
Yeah, not where you want to be at all. And a bit of a late flash, I would say, from Boost of Success. Should have seen that play coming from the Nautilus and just sort of let it happen. And Samira, we haven't seen this too much yet, but just a champion that runs away with games if she gets ahead.
Wow, that Ornn trade.
Yeah, Kexama, you have to worry about how much damage that Ornn does. If you have a grass proc plus that brittle proc, you basically half health people early in the game. Kaiser Mango not expecting it and gets chunked out.
And I just want to talk about how, of all 5 characters, all 5 champions, oh, we can see a little bit of a trade again.
Yeah, Kaiser Mango, but he gets booped right back, and all of a sudden, he's back down to low HP, and you cannot aggressively trade into the Ornn like that.
Yeah, I stand corrected. I thought this was going to be a very easy matchup for the Silas, and we see those big burst trades coming out, but he takes so much damage on the back end of those fights that it almost looks Ornn favored.
Yeah, difficult so far, but the Silas does scale quite well once he has a few more levels, a little bit more mana, a little bit more CDR. It does become a little more Silas favored, but definitely, Ornn is never one of those champions you can look at and say, I just get to bully that guy, right? Because he will boop you right back and do half your health, and you're sitting there like, what? Hold on, what happened?
Yeah, I'd like to point out, and we are only 3 minutes, 20 seconds into the game, but the Alistar has actually farmed almost the same amount of minions as the Kai'Sa has been able to this game. He's gotten 4, Kai'Sa has gotten 10, meaning she's only actually farmed 6 minions. She got denied so much golden experience in the early laning phase.
Yeah, died very, very late, unfortunately. So the minions were already in the lane by the time Boost of Success respawned. So another early advantage here. Hansha is going to be able to play up along with Hyatt's Jimmy, and this is going to be so oppressive here. Here goes the Hex Flash. Jimmy doesn't quite get over the wall, but flexing on him regardless.
Oh, man, and I love to say, like, I'm so excited because I said I wanted to see Samira get played in this series, and we finally got to see it. And when I was talking before that Ornn trade happened, of all the champions you could have given that first blood over to, it's the Samira of all things, the thing that's looking to make the game happen in laning phase and nothing else. And having that gold advantage, already being 10 CS down at 4 minutes, like, it's just going to be so hard for Kai'Sa to stay in this game if this keeps happening.
Yeah, I would not be surprised to see Blue Shift just camping on the bottom side in order to prevent the Samira from running away with the game, especially given that every champion on the side of ASU, with the exception of Adam W's Graves, will be able to just enable the Samira to either make space for her to go in or let her proc that dash in and the air juggle auto attack, which is just so much damage and crowd control to follow through from a champion that isn't supposed to have that much flexibility. So just, you absolutely need to see Blue Shift and Gunshin camping this bottom side, because otherwise I think Hansha, he played so well in the last game, he'll just run away.
Oh, I'm so excited. I want to see some crazy Samira outplays because I haven't actually got to see a ton of this champion's gameplay yet. And, like, I would love to see it. And I know that I've been hyping up ASU, but if it's going to be a dominant game anyway, I would love for it to be a Samira game.
Yeah, well, so far, so good for the Samira, but that is the only kill that's happened thus far into the game. This is going to be the early recall here from Hansha in order to get that BF sword, but the Wave will get shoved in from Boost to Success, who's been able to farm himself back up to even CS. So not all is really that lost for DOV Defiant, and like we were kind of talking about, they just have to scale. They don't have to worry that much about being ahead in the early stages of the game.
Yeah, and surprisingly enough, the Rise, it looks like he's got a lot of power in this mid lane matchup. It looks like the Orianna's not handling the poke or dodging the skill shots very well, and she's kind of been forced under turret for most of the lane.
Yeah, which Rise does have a lot of that sort of damage he gets on you just by hitting the minions. He's like, oh, I accidentally did half your health. Whoops, my bad. So can be quite strong, but may open himself up to some ganks by Adam W, who, important to note, we didn't even highlight this, is Smite Ignite. So really looking to make some early aggression happen.
Yeah, quite interesting, actually. That's, I mean, I love Graves as the champion, and I think that is a totally acceptable summon to take. And we're going to see a little bit of a fight come in mid anyway, but
yeah,
that phase rush is going to put in work and get Rise out of it pretty safely.
Yep, just rune prisons and runs away. So Adam W just trying to break the freeze and let Matt Slim get a peel off his Kexama. Oh my god, he's actually going to go for it here. Pops the call, the Forge God, but Kaiser Mango is underneath his tower, gets booped again, taking some damage. He's still walking up, almost gets taken down by the Volcanic Rupture, and here comes the charge. A good flash from Kaiser Mango, he gets the heal, but we're going to go bot lane instead as we have the gank coming in at the highest Jimmy, who gets booped back to safety by Blue Shift. No one is going to die on the top side of the map, though. There is going to be a flash out from Kexama to keep him safe. Lots of aggression, but nobody died.
Now, I loved the concept of what Kexama was trying to pull off.
Actually, Adam W, he was on the Drake. He's trying to finish it off. He's going to be able to pick up this early Drake. He's gotten some healing. Lucius taking the damage. Here comes the Sombrero, and he does get the kill down. Sleepy Boy's now the subject of aggression. He's in, and there's no way for him to get out. He gets taken down just like that. ASU are able to pick up 2 kills, that early Drake, and the early game lead.
And they hand the kill over to Samira, which is exactly what I want to see. And, I mean, already having that BF sword, she's going to go back. She's going to get boots. And there's going to be nothing that this Kai'Sa Alistar that's already behind is going to be able to do. I mean, the Kai'Sa's already caught up a little bit in CS, but that's not going to matter when you're 2 kills down. You're almost looking at 1,000 gold differential between the 2 AD carries. I'm taking a look now. It is 1,000 gold, and you're 7 minutes into the game. Like, that shouldn't happen.
It shouldn't, but unfortunately it has here for DOV Defiant, and they're going to have to really try hard to keep this lane equalized and try and get that scaling edge. Blue Shift does come down looking for his blue buff, won't find it, unfortunately, and won't even be able to get the gank, as this will be them recalling. Here we go, topside again. Kaiser Mango, he gets the damage through, and now you're kind of seeing the Silas come online now that he's got that lost chapter.
Yeah, once Silas is able to hit that 6 and be healthy, it's a lot harder for the Ornn to make anything happen, because at that level 6, you're kind of playing off just raw base stats, you know? And the Ornn has enough in his kit to say, like, hey, I'm just going to do more damage because my kit says so. But now that they're starting to get a little bit of items, Silas has got some AP in his back pocket. Those ultis in the team fights, or rather in the one-on-ones, it's just going to be better for Silas. They've basically got the same ultimates, but Silas is better for dueling, and I think we're just going to now see Kaiser run away with the lane, because Ornn tried to make that early kill happen, try to shut him down at 6, but it didn't work out, and Ornn's just going to be a blacksmith for the team.
Yeah, actually, we have a bit of an interesting roam here for Kaiser Mango, sniffing around the jungle of Blue Shift, and does spot out that red buff, but won't try to go for the steal, as the early Herald is started, will get spotted up, and is actually going to be seen here by Kaiser Mango, tackles himself to safety, and uses that ultimate out. The abduct is not going to quite land, and Blue Shift gets out with his life. That was too close for comfort, though.
I think that was actually a very, I don't want to say intelligent, because you did have to use it defensively, but really.
Oh, but he has been found out. Adam W getting the damage through. He does get the damage in. Collateral damage finishes that off. I know I said damage 5 times there, but there was a lot of it, and I needed to say it more than once. So either way, easy kill for Adam W, and Blue Shift has just been non-existent.
I lied. I'm a liar. I lied to you guys. I'm going to say that the Hecarim was playing really intelligently, and that the ult was really smart the way he used it to get out, but then he just stayed when he knew the Graves was right on the other side of the red buff, and he died. So things not looking good for DOV right now.
And that's one of the disadvantages as well, going Ghost on the Hecarim instead of the Flash. Sure, it gives you more damage, you have the ability to roam, it's a bit of an escape sometimes, but not having that second dash means you get caught out like that, you just kind of die. So that is going to be picked up from Adam W here. 2-0-1 so far with that Warrior Enchant completed before 10 minutes. So this Grave is going to be really powerful.
Yeah, it's fun to run away fast, but it's really not fun when you're just using it to run away. You know, you want to take that Ghost to actually amplify your damage, but when you're having to use that spell defensively and your ult defensively, your big cooldown ult that you just got at level 6 on Hecarim defensively, you're giving up all early laning pressure for your laner.
Oh, here we go, bot lane. They are going to be on to high. It's Jimmy, who's taking some damage. He gets tackled back from the devastating charge, and he just dies, no problem. Sleepy Voice, though, picks that one up. It is going to be DOV Defiant on the board, but you really didn't want to see that Alistair get the kill.
I know. I was so excited to say, man, that was really well done. Great job of handing that over to the Kai'Sa, and the Alistair just takes it away with an auto. And, you know, they do pick up the kill. That's great, but the Kai'Sa's in just as bad of a position as she was before that kill happened.
Gunshot on the wrong side of the map here. They are going to get some damage on Adam W, who's taking a bunch. He's not that tanky against magic damage yet. He gets tackled in. The sombrero comes through, but Shockwave misses. Adam W is going to have to watch him run away as Gunshot is still in the bush. Adam W, he is being so aggressive, but he gets out using that collateral damage, and here comes the ultimate from Gunshot. He is going to get the teleport out to safety. This is both teams narrowly avoiding disaster in the mid lane.
Great ult, great play, great dodge by Gunshin. He was probably playing a bit too aggressive there in the river bush, but great job of getting out.
And this, I think, is such a good look here for Gunshin. We were talking about him all last game. He had a bunch of with Orianna ultimates. He did not look that good in the laning phase. He did not look that good in the team fights, but the Rise, he's kind of proven himself to be a threat here, even before he's had a chance to get the Rise scaling underway.
Yeah, I mean, it looks a lot more comfortable than the last champion did. And even in the early laning phase when Rise should be kind of weak, it looked like he was very dominant. And I mean, man, when you're playing a scaling composition and you just want to survive, if DOV's proven anything to me in these last 2 games, it's that if they know how to do anything, it's run away.
And runaway is not too bad of an idea if you are playing a scaling composition, because you don't really care if you fall behind early. You're just looking to get those items under your belt and let the game go 30 or more minutes. As here we go again, Adam W, he's getting some damage down. Stalled up by the bone plating a little bit, but Sleepy Voice still forced to flash away in advance of the Drake. So this should just be ASU's Drake yet again, as Map Slim actually, he's taking a ton of damage. Gunshin is actually looking for the kill here. Needs the overload, hasn't quite found it yet. There it goes, and needs one more, and the flash is in. Wasn't needed though. Map Slim getting bullied out.
We see a little bit of a trade go between Mango and Kexama up there. Doesn't look like it was too advantageous on either side, but Kai'Sa does have a lot more mana than Keck does right now, so I'm going to say that went a little over to Mango. But we're going to see a TP drop mid. It's going to be the Orianna. We've got Graves with Herald. We're going to look for a little bit of a mid push. I'd like to see who they give these plates over to, and this is the play I was talking about. It's going to go all over to the Orianna. They say, this is what's going to make our team fights happen, so take all the plates that you want, just stay in range, and we're going to see a game pause.
Yeah, there was the disconnect there from Kaiser Mango. Comcast, again, being the best player on DOV Defiant's team. That's a joke, of course, but either way, Comcast showing its teeth here against ASU. Connection not that great, but either way, they will be able to pause up the game. And this is going to be a bunch of plate gold over to Map Slim, which should help equalize that lane just a little bit.
Yeah, you know, I know that I've talked down to DOV a lot of this cast. I know that ASU has looked very dominant, but I think that what they're doing now looks a lot more their speed, a lot more their style than what they tried to do last game. Last game, they drafted 3 winning lanes, and while they did pretty well in the lanes, aside from the fiasco bot lane, they didn't really know what to do with their lead, it felt like. And I think this is a lot more linear for them as we get back into the game here, that all they have to do is stay alive, scale up, and just brute force team fights. And I know that may sound a little brain dead on one hand, but if that's what works for your team, there's nothing brain dead about it if it's going to give you a win.
Yeah, as they say on Smash Twitter, play lame, win games. And so far, that's looking like DOV Defiant's plan. And it's a good look on them, like you were saying. They've looked a lot more comfortable. They haven't needed to play aggressively. They're just scaling up. And even though the 2 kills went over early to Hansha, he hasn't been able to get any since, and they haven't been able to leverage that lead. As here we go, hi, it's Jimmy. Uses the depth charge, but can't follow it up as there are too many members nearby. Adam W, they finally go into Sleepy Voice here, but he's got the Alistair ultimate to keep him tanky. He does go down. Blue Shift goes back on the backside here, but he misses the fear. Hansha takes that one down. No apologies. That was going to be Mapslim taking that one down, and now Boost of Success is all by himself under the tower. Here comes the Goon Squad looking to make the dive play, but the wave is in a bad spot. They're not going to be able to quite get it. Flashing the emotes and then walking away. So at the end of the day, that was an aggressive play. I was saying they needed to make more happen in the early game, and well, that was it right there.
Yeah, I mean, it's like they know what they need to do for late game, but they don't know how to get there, because in that situation, you just run. You just leave whoever's stuck out to die. You don't try to make that fight happen. There was no need for the Hecarim to ult back in. And if you just, like, let's say, let the Alistair die, great. You gave over 1 more kill. That's fine. But instead, you turn back. You again die for the 3rd time as Hecarim. And God, I would hate to see the
Oh,
top
here we
lane.
go, top lane, Kaiser Mango. He is going to take that ultimate damage. He gets booped and he gets run over. Stayed a little bit too long, and Kexama takes the solo kill. You hate to see it happen.
Turns out Kexama can actually play 4 champions, the 4th one being Ornn, because I love to see that happen. Sylas should have just had the advantage in the lane, but it just looks like he's not playing well.
But to be fair, Spaff, who can't play Ornn is the question.
I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I think that it's interesting that if it's such an easy champion to play, such an easy champion to predict, that this Mango guy is still dying to it.
Oh, well, there we go. There's another disconnect, so I would expect a game pause here. Yes, there he is, in order to make sure he can reconnect. So we can blame that one on lag, of course. That's why he died to the Ornn, of course. But either way, you really don't want to see the Sylas getting solo killed here by Kexama at all, because that's just so much pressure that's being gifted over back to DOV Defiant.
You don't want to see it. You don't like oh, man. Sylas should not die there. There's no reason the Sylas should even be really looking to fight. Like, sure, pressure him under tower, but don't be taking trades. The rest of your team is winning on the opposite side of the map. All you need to do is not die, save your TP, push him in and run away when the Ornn can't stop your TP, and that's all you have to do to win the game. But instead, he plays greedy and he pays for it.
Yeah, so isn't able to quite make it happen, so does go down, and every kill you get as the team who's trying to scale just means that you have a little bit more time to get that scaling underway. DOV Defiant, they still have a long way to go if they want to get to those sort of late game team fights, but it's not a good look for Kaiser Mango to get caught out like that and just go down.
And we're going to see Blue Shift kind of move over towards the second Herald. We've got 3 people from ASU moving over, and we're not going to probably see much of a fight unless the Ornn decides to make something happen. But that Ornn ult is down, the Hecarim ult is down, and unfortunately, they don't have an option. They're going to have to give this second Herald over, and that's probably going to result in a mid-tower dropping.
Yeah, should be able to get this no problem. Adam W left behind to secure that with the smite here. So far, ASU, they've still looked very calm. They still look very in control, but this has also been a much slower game than I think they were hoping for.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to me at how fed that Samira got so early, and it just feels like she's not been doing anything. But we are going to see a little bit of an aggression mid lane.
Yeah, actually, here we go. Top lane, though. Kaiser Mango, he's forced to flash away from the Hecarim, but he's immediately Onslaught of Shadows back onto, and Blue Shift picks that one up, no problem. The gank comes through top, and they have a chance at first tower here.
Yeah, great decision to make that swap onto the top lane instead of trying to force mid lane. Mid lane gets out safe. It looks like first tower is still going over to ASU, but they're going to be able to trade it on the side of DOV. Hecarim's got a little bit of a...
Adam W, though, Gunshin has nothing he can do. Highest Jimmy comes over the wall, but he's not even required, as Adam W had that, no problem. The Herald is able to get the second charge off onto the mid tower, and this is going to be a recall channel from Blue Shift. He has to come answer this push, leave Kexama to continue shoving the top lane.
And these are the mistakes that I hate to see at lower levels. And this isn't even quite lower level, but when you have your team making something happen on the other side of the map, stop trying to make something happen solo. Like, why was Gunshin there? Why was Gunshin trying to step into an area where he had no vision, where he knew that there were 3 people going into that jungle anyway, when they were just taking tower top? There's nothing to fight for. And I think that these mistakes are what's going to cost one of the teams the game, like we just saw with the Sylas fighting the Ornn. Just leave it alone. Like, just let your team do its job. Wait for something to happen. Wait for you to actually be needed and stop trying to be the solo carry.
Yeah, you do hate to see it, but both these teams now making mistakes. Arguably, DOV Defiant making the larger mistake as they gave up 2 towers and first tower in exchange for just the one top side, which is less important, but at least they are answering back with objectives, trying to stall it a little bit, as here comes the next Drake. Kaiser Mango still topside with the teleport, Kexama as well, so we may see the attempted team fight, and if Hansha is going to pop off anywhere, this is going to be it.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that
here we go. Highest Jimmy stepping up. He's going to get the root onto Blue Shift. They're getting the damage down. Sleepy Boy finally tries to go for the re-engage, but he's not going to get too much. He does get juggled. This is going to be Hansha actually blocking the Ornn ultimate here. He's taking some damage from Gunshin here. Dashes back on and is forced to be flashed away from. But the Drake actually kills him on the backside here. Kaiser Mango is in, though, using his own Whirlwind Ornn ultimate. They are able to get the kill to boost his success. And now Kexama is all by himself. Maybe he finishes Highest Jimmy if he's lucky, but he is not quite there. Adam W goes on a rampage here. Gunshin is the only survivor. ASU, they take another fight.
Yeah, I sure didn't know that Samira W could block Ornn ult, but that's good to know, and that's actually hilarious because in that situation, you can frontline your AD carry. Like, what? Well, I don't see what DOV does to pull this game through because, like, if they don't make it to that 30-minute mark, I mean, they're down in gold. They're 4K down. The Samira is very strong. You know, the Orianna is scaling fine. And when you have to clump up for these team fights against the Orianna ult, it's becoming very difficult when you can't organize your team fight properly to make these things happen.
Yeah, not able to quite make it there, unfortunately. Now, to be fair, Gunshin was almost able to one-shot Hansha once he was in the Rise's range, but remember that the Samira ultimate does proc lifesteal. I would expect to see a either Bloodthirster or Death's Dance coming through here for Hansha as a second or third item, and once he's got that, I don't think there's a lot that Gunshin will be able to do, especially now that we know Blade Whirl, turns out that blocks the entirety of Ornn ultimate as long as he times it right.
Yeah, that's scary to face down. Oh, here we go. A little bit of a fight, but Kai'Sa's just going to step back.
No, he knows he can play safe, and Heights Jimmy gets nothing for it.
The Kai'Sa and the Rise are going for very slow but very strong scaling builds. The Rise went Roa and Tyr, and the Kai'Sa did go for the Manamune build. And, you know, like both of those are pretty standard, but again, if they can't hit those 30-minute marks, this is less of a thing where they really need to kind of be in the game to make it happen. They're just going to hit those items and be strong. So it's really just a game of survival at this point for DOV.
Game of survival, but they are not attempting to survive here. You do have blue shift down the bot side, maybe daring them to go aggressively. As here we go again, top side. Kaiser Mango wants to take this fight. As here we go, this is going to be depth charge landing. Heights Jimmy pulls her back in, but Hansha is still last hitting. So this is Heights Jimmy all on his own, but no, Adam W has arrived over the side. This is going to be Killer Instinct to try and get boosted success to safety, but he goes down regardless. Teleport comes through for Gunshin. Hansha is dueling him on the backside here. Gets the damage down, gets the juggle auto attack, and is able to take that kill here. Map Slim picks it up. Sleepy Voice now is abreast on Under Tower. Adam W, he picks up the double kill. He pops that mastery. It's just the top laners duking it out top side. In ASU, they just pick that up easy as you please.
And I'll say it for the who knows how many times I've said it this game. Stop fighting. DOV doesn't need to fight. Like, there was nothing to fight for there. There's no objective on the bot side. And instead, they think, oh, wow, there's one little pick we can get. But instead, it ends up costing them 3 members. And, you know, a bot lane tower, you've lost pressure. You have to reset for Baron, and it's already up. And you know that they've already got a little bit of vision on the top side. So they're going to be playing pretty downhill right now.
Kaiser Mango, his team pinged it out, but he said, I don't care, and he is going to go down for it, flashing as well, because Blue Shift came over the wall there with the Onslaught of Shadows and takes him down. Hate to see it happen if you're ASU. And Kaiser Mango, I think we have to say, has not looked nearly as good this game as he did in the last.
Oh, no, absolutely not. I think he might just be trying to make it hard mode for ASU to see how much they can flex their muscles, because he is in all regions, in all aspects of this matchup, losing.
Yeah, not doing so hot, and you really don't want to see your Silas down that much, as that's another champion that can run away with the game if he's ahead, but he's very not ahead. Still brings utility by his ability to just steal away the Ornn ultimate or the Hecarim ultimate whenever he needs to, but so far has not looked great. But this is going to be the rotation here top side for ASU. They will be trying to knock down the last of these outer towers.
Yeah, and Ornn's already level 13. Giving those kills, giving those free waves over to him, this is only going to make those item upgrades come faster. And you do not want that, because you want to delay those item spikes as much as possible. But when you've got like those other sources like the Ornn to buff up these champions, like the Rise and the Kai'Sa, when they're already almost winning team fights, it's going to be hard for ASU going forward. It looks like Kai'Sa is floating above the ground right now. I don't know if you're seeing that too, but hopefully that's not an in-game visual bug from both teams.
Oh, no, I don't see it, but actually, here we go. Mid lane, Map Slim is actually taking the damage from Gunshin here. He does get the shockwave back in the flash in order to try and turn the play around. Adam W is able to pick up the kill, but that was a near thing. Map Slim almost goes down. Adam W flexing his muscles there on the Graves, showing how much damage he can do.
And it makes me wonder, like, if they hadn't been fighting, if they hadn't been trying to, like, take so much when they shouldn't be, I mean, those are fights that Gunshin would have already been winning if there wasn't such a massive gold differential. I mean, he is getting close to just being able to solo Map Slim whenever he finds him.
Yeah, definitely Gunshin, he is looking so much better this game. As here we go, Kaiser Mango, he is going to be able to steal away the ultimate here. So call the Forge God on deck for this Drake, which is spawning up before too long. And they're lying in wait to try and see if they can't catch DOV Defiant in an ambush here. This is going to be an item upgrade landing on Blue Shift, and that will be scattered out there with a Void Seeker, so nothing doing on that. The Drake is still going to be spawning, and this is Map Slim all the way on the other side of the map. Does have teleport, but not exactly the greatest TP flanker you could ever have. And here we go. This is going to be ASU trying to push them out. Wait for this Drake to spawn.
Oh, and I got a question for you.
Yeah.
The items that Rise and Kai'Sa are building, can Ornn upgrade any of those?
No, he can't.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to point out because I was like, wow, that's really interesting that Hecker.
Oh, hold that thought. We have Call the Forge Gun coming through and a boost of success. He forced a flash away, takes a bunch of damage, but he isn't going to quite go down. Hancha, though, picks that one up. Never mind, highest Jimmy goes to the wall to finish the job. This is going to be the first frag onto the Samira, though. Hancha is down, and this is going to be Mapslim under fire as well. But a huge shockwave is going to be able to turn the fight back on its head. This is the front line down. This is just Kexamot going to be surviving. A triple kill picked up for highest Jimmy. Can he get the Quadra here? No. That will be handed over to Mapslim, but that looked so good for DOV Defiant, and then Mapslim said, haha, command shockwave go burr.
Yeah, that's going to be Mountain Soul going over. And like I said, interesting pick for the Hecarim to get the item upgrade. But when your team is just not even coordinating their item builds when you have the Ornn on your team, why are you picking the champion? Like it just seems like there's so many internal mistakes, so many communication errors, especially when it comes to like, why are you taking these fights? It's not looking good for DOV, and they're in a position now where they're hitting their item spikes, but now they're facing a Mountain Soul. So it's kind of delaying that power that they would have liked to say that they had.
Yeah, 24 minutes in, and Soul has already gone over here to ASU. Now, the game is far from over quite yet. The scaling is still going to be coming online here for DOV Defiant, but they're starting to run out of time, especially given that now ASU, you have to think the next thing they'll be looking at is that Baron.
Oh, absolutely. There's nothing else for them to play for. Elder's not going to be coming up anytime soon, and they've made it clear many times over that they win the 5v5. So I think that what they do here is they just force it down. Samira walks up, and they start at the moment that she gets there.
Yes, here we go. The rotations are going to come through. Mapslim will actually find out. Kexama on the top side here, get a little bit of damage down, and then try to run away as Kaiser Mango will be dueling with Gunshin here on the bottom side of the map, but Kexama, he's being forced out of the fight. Actually, Hanshot comes over the top here. Command Shockwave is going to be used to pull Kexama in. As here they go, they're looking for the Ornn. He's actually going to walk back forward. Call the Forge God does come through, but he's not going to be able to use it as the Blade Whirl is going to block it up. Highest Jimmy's going to use that Gargoyle Stone Plate Assault for a little bit longer, as here comes the Depth Charger to break the fight here. Hecarim goes back in. Blue Ship trying to make it happen, but Kaiser Rang on the backside repeats the process. Sleepy Voice is now trying to split up the fight just a little bit longer, but he is going to give his life for it. Hansha has the ultimate available. Will we see it? Can't pull the trigger on the Inferno trigger. It will be forced to back away with just the one pick. Very close margins in that fight, but that is going to be ASU walking out with one kill and Baron Prio.
That's what you kind of wish you would have seen from DOV through most of this game. Take those tiny one-for-one trades. Even if it means that you have to give up a kill to the other team, take what you can get and run away. But they're going to try to ult in here, maybe?
No, stalling it out, trying to use the ultimate to fake them out. Highest Jimmy is going to be aggressed on by Gunshin there. They're trying to think if they want to stall it up, and they're instead going to go for the fight here, but Kexama is on the front line. He's very tanky. Highest Jimmy is very low as well. He's going to get taken out, Hound, no problem. Adam W, now the only remaining frontliner on the team. He's looking for the damage on the boost of success. He takes a bunch of damage now, and they're already able to pick up the kill. He goes legendary. There's another one. Blue Shift is now the subject of progression. He goes down to the Samira, and now Gunshin all on his own. Hansha will find him. Inferno trigger is on, and that is an easy pickup. So much damage from that ultimate. And that's just going to be ASU. They pick up the fight. They're going to be able to go right back to the Baron. And DOV Defiant, they're trying their hardest, but they just can't get the fights.
And it becomes very obvious when you see the fights be that close with such a massive gold deficit. It's 25-8, and DOV still almost run away with that fight outside of some small mechanical messes. But if they had just been playing smarter, you want to think that their comp would have just been the better composition here. But as we've said, as we've seen, it's just not the case, and we're going to see the Baron go over to ASU, and we're going to start seeing some turrets drop on the side of DOV.
Turrets going down, Baron goes over, and I think what you said rings very true, because that way earlier in the game, where you had the teams buy the blue buff, ASU is looking to try and steal it away, and what you should do on that scaling comp, right, is back away and say, fine, whatever, dude, it's yours, take it. Instead, DOV Defiant, they said, we're playing a scaling comp, let's fight for this, and they're just giving away advantages by going for those plays, as you've been saying constantly throughout the game. And now I got to ask you, how do they find a way back in?
And that's exactly what I was actually going to ask you, because what they needed to do, well, actually, let's see if Rise can actually make something happen on the side lane. And this might be a little aggressive, but he's just going to let it go. So to answer your question, I think what they needed to do was to not take as many fights as they did early. Now, they just kind of have to turtle as hard as they can, lose as little as possible while this Baron buff is active, and hope that they can just get stronger. Their comp does win if they get to full builds, but if they're continuing to fight...
Charge comes through. Gunshin is going to be taking the damage down, and he's nearsighted, and he just gets obliterated. Maybe a little too aggro there. And like you said, you keep saying, stop picking fights, and Gunshin said, what? I can't hear you. And he goes down bot side, and now the 5-man siege is going to come through.
Yeah, and we're seeing a Zeal item come out from Kaisa, and to be honest with you, I'm not sure if there's a Zeal item that Ornn can upgrade either. Is there?
I believe there's at least one, but I do not know off the top of my head. I'm being told by production that there isn't an item that he can upgrade that builds out of Zeal, so more missed opportunities here from the Ornn.
And that's horrible to see, but it looked like they're just saying we just gotta hit items, you know, screw Ornn being able to upgrade anything. We just gotta try to not lose the entire base, but inhibitors are gonna drop. Another turret in bot lane is probably going to go down. That'll be a second inhibitor going over, and DOV is just bleeding out without many options.
Yeah, DOV Defiant, I think, are in another do or die situation. Comcast can't save you here. Will they go for a fight? Instead, they're just going to let that second inhibitor drop, try and stall for a little bit longer as ASU will be forced to back away and pick up the wave topside, or alternatively go for that Elder Dragon, which is spawning in the next minute.
I think that if this Elder Drake goes over to ASU, then it's just got to be a lost game from DOV. I mean, you were winning those team fights by such slim margins for ASU, but when those slim margins just become instant executes, it's not going to matter. And I think that they just can play a very simple front to back or look for one really big Orianna ult. And that's where they're going to run it down the middle of the map. I think that a pick like this is what they need.
Yeah, trying to get on a map slim here. Forced to flash away. He is going to get chased down by the onslaught of shadows, and all of a sudden, not in a great spot. This is going to be the flash forward into the dredge line here, and there's nowhere that Sleepy Voice can go. He gets taken down. Map slim unstoppable. The teleport is now going to come through into the base to try and cut off the rest of the team. Map slim going to be looking to try and deal with boost of success before they can get into the base here. The Orianna is just going to zoom them out. Here comes the Call of the Forge God looking for Map Slim, but they're not going to be able to get it. Hansha again with the Blade Whirl just stops it dead. And now this is going to be Map Slim zoned up. Dungeon looking for the damage here, but Command Shockwave comes through. Adam W dashes back in. Highest Jimmy now on the backside here. They are going to be able to take the kill there under the Rise. They are going to be able to take the kill there under the Kaisa. And this should be the game. Hansha goes in on the Kexama. He's flashed away from the ultimate, so won't be getting taken down and just going to dance as the Nexus pops. ASU, they played it slow, they played it fast, they played to win, and at the end of the day, it will be ASU picking up the win in really clean 2-0 fashion.
An absolute banger angle of a pick for the Samira. Being able to cancel that Ornn ult, if that's something that they were aware of with how often the Samira was doing it, I think that they were. That made so many differences in team fights. But congratulations to ASU for taking a very clean series away from DOV and taking first in their group.
Yeah, that will put them to guaranteed first place in the group. So very nicely done, and definitely positioning themselves as a team to beat. Like I was kind of talking about, they played the sort of slower, just win the lane, eventually will outplay later on. And then they played the fast, let's come out and punch them right in the mouth composition this game around. And they were able to make it happen both times. And I think Hansha, man, on this Samira, I know you were saying doesn't really play the champion, but looked so clean.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, even if it was just there to stop the Ornn ult, that made all the difference because ironically, DOV was the team that had the Ornn, but ASU was the team that actually got to use the Ornn ult in the team fight because no Ornn ults ever actually went through with Samira there.
Yeah, and ASU was very good at pulling the trigger on these fights. DOV Defiant kind of hovering and saying, well, maybe we want to fight, maybe we don't. Kexama, hold off. And it really felt like ASU was just kind of saying, hey, Mango, go ahead and throw the Call of the Forge God. We're ready. Let's do this. And just able to execute on those fights so cleanly. And both substitute players, I think, as well for ASU here, really came to play.
Adam W actually doing, by a large margin, the most damage in the game. And I think it's awesome that we got to see that Samira Ornn interaction on stream because I wonder what that'll mean for the rest of the groups going forward with Ornn being such a good, common, easy to play power pick in the top lane. Samira might just be higher priority as these series go deeper and deeper to try to actually nullify that pick.
Yeah, and before it was you had to play the Yasuo in order to block the Ornn ult, which maybe you did, maybe you didn't. You had to play the Braum, who isn't really meta, but with Samira being so good, being so meta, able to win these skirmishes super well, and also being able to stop that Ornn R, maybe a better flex pick in the future, maybe a better pick that teams really want to look for. We'll have to see in the future. So definitely stay tuned, guys, as we will have more UML action next week. Thank you all so very much for watching tonight, guys. That's going to be it for us on the desk here. I've been Joe Helmite Silva, joined here, of course, by Riley Spaff Robertson. Once again, thank you all so very much for watching. We will be back next week with more League of Legends action. We'll see you then.